Welcome, everybody, to another episode of the Genesis Mindset. And I'm really excited to deliver this particular episode. It's something that I've been leading up to. And the reason why I've been leading up to it and really excited to tell it is because it actually took me a while to understand the true innovation of this idea and the brilliance of this idea. So, what I have actually done up until this point is just gradually drip feed different concepts to start nurturing your mind. So, then today I'm actually going to deliver it in its entirety. And then after today, I'm going to then deconstruct it into the next few weeks into different episodes. So, with that said, let's get straight into it and welcome everybody. So, as always, in the Genesis Mindset, this is simply just mindset for investing, trading, and life. This is personal opinion only. I'm not a financial advisor. This is not financial advice. This is just me talking to you about my passions and about my interests. And so in this episode, what we'll be talking about is BTCMobick's greatest innovation, which is the public goods. So in order to actually understand public goods and how it is utilized for the growth of an ecosystem, we're going to get straight into what public goods are. So if you want to learn what the public goods are, you can actually go to the white paper. So I will link that either up here or it will be at the end of the episode. So it's actually outlined in the white paper. So just so you understand what public goods are something that have a shared benefit for everyone. So it's something that's positive for everyone. It's something that promotes cooperation. It has a mutual benefit for everyone. It's about the sustainability and growth of an ecosystem and increasing its economic value. So for example, you can really relate this to a city. So in a city, they might have different policies or different ways of spending money that is in the benefit of the public. So for example, they might want clean air in a city. So how do they actually utilize this? They will spend public money for street trees. So this is something that benefits everybody. It doesn't benefit any one individual. It enhances the totality of the ecosystem. Clean water might also be another one. So things like investing in piping infrastructure, which benefits everyone. Things like having green areas and access and parks that is accessible to everyone, particularly in Australia. And I imagine it's the same everywhere else. I mean, you can think of probably the most famous one in New York. You've got, what's it called? Oh my gosh, the big park in the middle of New York. Whatever it's called, everybody knows which one I'm talking about. It's the huge square that's carved out of the middle. Central Park. It's called Central Park, carved out of the middle of New York City. And this is something that is in the benefit for everyone. It's available to the public and it's maintained by the public. So it's for the good of the public. So it has all these kinds of benefits: well-being, clean air, trees, connection to nature, connection to each other, so on and so forth. So this is what public goods actually are. So how are they actually innovating this and implementing this into BTCMobick? So first of all, as we know by now that BTCMobick is a fork of Bitcoin. So what actually happened was when Mr. Orr, the founder, actually forked this, he halted the ecosystem and he sped up the mining rate. So first he halted the ecosystem, halted the mining rate, and at a certain point he sped up the mining rate so he could mine a further 14.7 million tokens. So he mined 14.7 million tokens, and all of these tokens were issued to the founder, which is Mr. Orr. So once they were issued to Mr. Orr, now they're stored in 15 publicly available addresses. So all of these different addresses will have just over or just under a million or around about a million in each of the 15 wallets rather. And it's public, so anybody can view them. The public keys have been made accessible to everyone. So there are people within the community who keep a keen eye on the movements of these public funds because Mr. Orr has publicly announced that he will not sell any of these tokens for personal gain. Every single one of these coins will be going towards public goods. So that means every single one of these tokens, not one of the 14.7 million tokens will he sell for personal gain. Not even one, not even half of one, not even 0.000000001. Every single token is completely selflessly going towards the benefit of growing the ecosystem. That is something that I have not seen in any single altcoin since I've started cryptocurrency. The closest thing I have seen to that is the concept of the origin address in Pulse Chain and Hex, where those tokens are actually set aside. Nobody can access them, nobody can touch them, and it's set in a way that actually protects the ecosystem and controls the circulation and supply for the benefit of the price. That's the only thing, the closest thing that I've actually seen to this concept of public goods. With BitMobick, on the other hand, though, all of those tokens are actually going to be spent for the benefit of the ecosystem. If you think about every other altcoin, they all have this concept of a supply that goes to the founders, but those founders generally dump the top. So if you think about Ethereum, Ethereum has created all of the tops in Ethereum since its inception, because the foundation, Vitalik Buterin, ends up dumping those tokens and it causes a crash in the price. All of these tokens, none of them are going to be sold by Mr. Or. He's made this publicly aware. He's a public figure. He has thousands and thousands of followers in Korea. He lectures. His life is on the line with this promise. So he has made this promise. Out of that supply, and because it's a fork of Bitcoin, existing Bitcoin holders can actually claim BitMobick. So all they need to do is connect to the BitMobick app and they can claim their BitMobick until the end of January 2029. That is also the date where any coins that aren't distributed or claimed will be burnt. So for example, of those 14.79 million tokens that have been created for public goods, if only 12 million gets distributed, then 2.7 million gets burnt. So again, not a single token will be kept for profit by Mr. Or. This selflessness for the benefit of the ecosystem is something that I'm thoroughly attracted to. I've never witnessed this in any cryptocurrency. This is the true innovation, that all these tokens are actually going towards the benefit of the ecosystem. That is a beautiful idea. So step one of that distribution was the airdrop. So 4 million tokens were distributed for free to over 4,500 people. So I have covered this in the past as well, the genius of the airdrop and how this actually created such a stable foundation, such a solid core of a foundation for the network to actually grow from. So from September 2022 until July 2023, these tokens have been distributed. So from the start, there was about 10 to 20 BitMobicks were distributed in various shops and cafes. You would come there, you would buy a coffee and you would get some BitMobick. So this is when it was well below $1. You're getting these 10 to 20 tokens. And then the idea expanded. So then Mr. Or started holding hikes and climbing mountains throughout South Korea and traveling around the world. So they went to Jeju Island in Korea and went on a big hike in order to receive these airdrops. And finally, they also went to America and then Australia, and it ended in Brisbane. So this is the university that's in Kelvin Grove, right near my meditation center. So I went there, had someone had to translate everything for me, which was really good fun. But to see that energy, to see that atmosphere, wow. And in the back of my mind, I'm like, the fact that all these hundreds of people actually traveled the world, they spent their time and energy to actually come here to receive these tokens. They're going to have a really strong attachment to these tokens. It really occurred to me. Then when I read the white paper, I saw that this was actually part of the thesis, that the energy and time that people devote in order to receive these free tokens creates an attachment in their mind to the coin. So then actually to have that idea, to see it played out in reality and have that idea connect with me through the white paper, I was really astounded. I was like, wow, they are really onto something here. So I became much more passionate about the project since then, because it's already been proved. They've already smashed the $1 mark, the $1 USD mark. At the moment, it's about 110 US dollars approximately per token. So once it goes over the $1 mark, it's really like a critical mass where it starts to have a value. Once it goes over $1, it's like $1 US compared to any token. It's a very significant number in the mind. So to see that it's smashed that in such a short period of time is really, for me, a lot of evidence of the growth of this particular idea and the growth of this ecosystem. So now, the way that they're going to continue to distribute these public goods tokens is that coins are going to be given freely as part of the public goods innovation. So this innovative idea to 4 different sectors. And I think these 4 different sectors are so carefully thought out, so just brilliant. There's no coincidences. Mr. Or is a genius. He's very well respected in Korea. He has a huge following on YouTube. He's a very famous author, one of the first blockchain authors in South Korea. He's very smart. He comes from an economy background. He's studied it. He's taught it. He's he knows all about it. So this is somebody that's very well read and considered to be very, very intelligent. So the sectors that he's chosen, I think, are just brilliant. So sector number 1 is media. So selecting a media company where they'll distribute a certain amount of free tokens. And at the moment, they're already in talks with one of the big 5 media companies in South Korea, and they have actually made that announcement. That's something that I will be doing in the very next video. So as I continue with this public goods discussion, I'm going to be doing media next week, and then the other 3 topics one after the other. So the following week, global IT. So a global IT company. So I'm going to cover why these are very important. The third one is renewable energy. So a renewable energy company. And the fourth one is universities. And at the moment, again, there's already talks underway with a major university in South Korea. So they're already making moves. They're already well on the way. So the first one, media. So of the 14.7 million tokens, 1.2 million tokens will be distributed for free to a media company. So the distribution of the coins goes to these businesses so that they can utilize it for their own business activity. So they can use these tokens for advertising, for marketing, for promotion. So for example, in the original example where they first distributed the tokens to the people who bought a coffee, it could be exactly the same for a media company. So they get the tokens for free, and then basically they could say, all right, all you need to do is watch this TV program and scan the QR code, and you can get 1 BTCMobick. Okay, so if they start marketing this, and every 7 p.m. for the next 7 months, we're going to be doing this, you're going to get 1 BTCMobick. What that actually does is it generates eyeballs, it generates attention. That's exactly what media companies want. They want your attention. The more attention they get, the more revenue that they get. So the benefit for them is the synergistic. There needs to be a synergy between who Mr. Or distributes the tokens to, how it benefits the company, and how it benefits the network. This is what actually needs to happen between these 4 sectors. So the first one is all about creating attention. So the company will get increased revenue, and they'll also get developing brand awareness. The fact that they are a media company that's starting to associate with blockchain, which is very innovative. Media companies do want to be on the forefront of technology. So this will actually boost their own brand. And through their advertising, they will get increased revenue. So that's the benefit for them. They get all these tokens for free. They don't have to pay for these tokens. Then for the network, the benefit to the network is the public opinion will start to grow. So it's not just something where, oh, this altcoin is a scam, or that altcoin is a scam, or Bitcoin is a scam. It's actually on the news. And whether we like it or not, people believe what's on the news, people believe what's on the internet. So it's going to boost public opinion. It should also therefore boost the price and boost the growth of the network. So if the price does grow as a process of this, then they will actually be so they're going to deliver these tokens in stages. So of the 1.2 million, they'll deliver it in stages. And if it does become a success, they'll deliver the rest of the tokens. If it's proving itself to grow the network and grow the price, then it's a success, and they'll continue to distribute those tokens to the media company. Okay, so then the next one, global IT company. So the first one, you've got media. So media is about attention and about awareness. That's the primary one. Global IT, this is about technology. This is actually about the blockchain and developing the technologies around blockchains and utilizing that. So of the 14.7 million, 5 million will be distributed to a global IT company. So distributed coins will basically help the business activity of that business. So let's say, for example, it's Samsung. Just for example, they can use this as employee incentives. So they'll get these tokens for free. They don't have to buy them. They can use it to pay their employees. So they're getting free tokens to pay their employees. It's going to help with business department advancements, internal micropayments. So they can set up an ecosystem on the blockchain where they're starting to trade between each other, starting to trade with outside business activities to connect into their blockchain. And also they could utilize it for identity and NFT utilizations on the blockchain. So these are some of the things that are starting to happen in Bitcoin at the moment with the ordinals. NFTs are everywhere on the Ethereum and forked Ethereum kinds of networks, but it's really something that's quite new, but is very possible on Bitcoin. So obviously as a fork of Bitcoin, they can go down this avenue. As always, the synergy needs to actually be there. So the synergy here will be the company will get free revenue plus blockchain development. So as they actually get given tokens, as they actually start to utilize a blockchain and develop within that, that can advance their own company in this new innovative blockchain technology. They can also use the same technology that they're developing for BitMobick on all other forks of Bitcoin and Bitcoin itself. For the network, again, it's price plus growth. So as they start to develop, as let's say Samsung utilizes the coin and starts to distribute it around, the ecosystem can grow, the awareness can grow, and the network can grow, and the price can grow. So again, it will be something where if the synergy is apparent, then they will continue to distribute those coins. They'll do it in stages. The next one is renewable energy. This is one that I really, really, really loved. I mean, I think the other two are brilliant. You're targeting awareness, you're targeting technology, two things that a network really needs in blockchain. And then this one, renewable energy. So this is a massive negative externality associated with mining in particular, this idea of the kind of power and energy that goes into it and the damage that it does to the environment. What they're going to do is they're going to offer 100 nodes, so approximately 1/3 of the total mining nodes, as to a renewable energy company. So then the renewable energy company can actually mine BitMobick. So what they're going to actually do, so for a renewable energy company, let's say, for example, you have a solar farm. So throughout the day, they're going to have a lot of excess power, but perhaps maybe in certain areas, the power is not being fully utilized because everybody's at work, the homes aren't using all the power. So then there's possibly a downturn where they're actually not using all the energy. So that energy is kind of just going to waste. But what they can actually do then is convert that energy into profit by actually mining BitMobick. So this is where it is a benefit to them. They can also connect, because again, it's a fork of Bitcoin, they can connect it to Bitcoin and other Bitcoin forks. So once they set up their mining nodes, they can actually connect it to any source, any Bitcoin source. So the synergy here for the company is increased revenue. So they're going to be given mining nodes. Yes, they're going to have to invest in the actual mining nodes themselves, but they will actually get revenue through that. Then they're also going to get maximum energy usage. So they're not going to have any wasted energy. All the energy in their downtime will actually go directly towards outputting profit, which is an amazing idea. So they're getting profit in downtime. Then for the network, it's going to boost the price. It's going to boost growth and network interaction. It's also going to create network stability because there's further mining nodes that are actually being generated in the public. And it's also going to boost public opinion. So we can take these kinds of ideas to governments, and also public opinion is generally going to be boosted. Oh, wow. Now, this mining, which has a negative externality of creating all this negative energy, well, in actuality, we're proving that it can have a positive effect because we're using wasted energy to develop mining, to boost and stabilize a network. This is something that really is the dream of Bitcoin, but it doesn't have a centralized entity that's actually pushing that because I wouldn't even say it is in a way decentralized, but it's also somewhat centralized because the mining operations are so centralized. They're so dependent on particular companies that, if NVIDIA went down, for example, then all those chips that are required for blockchain mining, there's huge issues there. So in a way, it's decentralized, but it's also very centralized. There's only a few companies that own all the mining operations. So in that sense, it's very centralized, but there is no figure that's doing it for the benefit of the ecosystem. Everybody just wants profit in Bitcoin. That's what they're all doing. And that's what blockchain is really about. But here it's about expanding the network for the good of the network and for the good of the world, because there's actually a central figure that is promoting that. So this is something that in Bitcoin, it doesn't have that central will that can actually drive that. Here, there is a central will, a central authority that can actually drive that innovation to actually boost public opinion. So universities, this is about youth. So 10 to 20,000 coins and mining rights will be given to universities, so university of choosing. So at the moment, what it will actually do is promote a blockchain ecosystem within the university. So for example, if students receive 10 to 20,000 BitMobicks, well, they might not receive, so basically a university will receive between 10 to 20,000 coins, which will then be distributed to the students. So the students might get a few BitMobick, they might get 1 million Korean won worth, which is just over $1,000 US, which is, I don't know, let's say it's $1,500 US. So students will in that university will get given $1,500 worth of BTCMobick. So if there's hundreds of students that have this, they can actually create an ecosystem, a trading ecosystem within the university. So not only are they getting free money, which they can also directly convert into cash, they can also develop an ecosystem around that. Universities is the center of innovation because of the energy of youth. Not only that, because they're getting mining rights, they can actually source funding for research. So with the profit that they're going to generate from mining, they can actually pay for research. So this is something that's very important to universities. So it can be very, very meaningful in establishing an ecosystem. And if they are proving themselves to be in benefit of the ecosystem, then they'll be given further mining rights. So universities can really, really utilize this, the energy of youth, which is, I mean, I don't know the statistics, but I'm sure if you took a cross section of all the different ages of everybody that's in cryptocurrency, it would be much younger than, say, those that are in stocks or commodities. This is where people typically there's people called boomers, the boomers that are in those assets. This is a much younger generation. So the younger generation, which looks at the world and goes, well, I can't really own real estate with the interest rates. Well, I can't really own stocks. Amazon is already like far too expensive. What am I going to buy that for? I would rather something where I've got an opportunity to make a huge amount of growth that they had. Somebody who's held Amazon for 20 years, they're up hundreds, thousands of %. But I can't really do that now if I buy Amazon. I might get a 2x over the next 5 or 10 years, but big deal. But I can make that kind of money that someone 20 years ago held in Amazon as a university student. I can make that in cryptocurrency. Cryptocurrency is one of the unique opportunities of our lifetime. It is, in my opinion, the best opportunity for wealth generation in our lifetime. So the synergy here is for the university, they're getting free incentives to students. So if there was one university where they're actually distributing these tokens to, imagine that. If it was a really good university and part of, let's say it's a state-of-the-art university, or possibly not a state-of-the-art university, a university that's striving to be in the top 3, but at the moment it's sitting on 4 or 5, they might be very interested in something like this. They can say, well, we can attract those types of students into our university by offering them one, world-class education, but also they're going to be connected to this ecosystem, this blockchain ecosystem. They're going to be getting free tokens, so they're going to be getting free money. So if I'm spending tens of thousands of dollars or hundreds of thousands of dollars on an education, I will take a few $1,000s for free. I will take that. It's like a subsidy. It's like a scholarship. I will definitely take that, and I definitely consider that as a place to go. They will get blockchain development by actually developing an ecosystem surrounding blockchain, and research revenue through mining rights. And then for the network, again, price plus growth plus network stability plus youthful energy. So this awareness. So as the youth are the ones that are really growing cryptocurrency. We're all growing it together, don't get me wrong, but the energy of youth and the way that it spreads amongst the youth is how this stuff really, really grows. So thank you very much for listening. I really wanted to deliver this carefully, and I really wanted to deliver the story to you very meaningfully, because like I said, this is something that I've been stewing on for quite some time. So if you found this interesting, please feel free to follow me on any of my social platforms there. And I really hope for you that you've really come to understand, this idea of public goods is extremely innovative. It's in my opinion, it's connected to the idea of the airdrop, but after the idea of the airdrop, it's probably the most innovative idea that I've ever seen in an altcoin. And that's something that makes me extremely bullish. The idea of the airdrop, the energy plus time equals the attachment to the coin as a foundation of the network, is phenomenal. Phenomenal. I haven't seen that. I've never seen that. The closest thing that I've seen to that, again, is Pulse Chain with the sacrifice, where people actually gave their funds for no expectations of anything in return. But they've still given their time, their money there still is some kind of an expectation there. There is a hope there. There's an attachment there to the coin, to the token. Same thing with this. It's given that attachment because they've spent their time and energy. I really think that that's an innovative idea. And I think this is an extremely innovative idea. The selflessness of the founder to promote and grow the ecosystem, have nothing for personal gain. you okay, everybody has some sort of selfish motive, and you could say his selfish motive is to be recognized as someone who is an innovator in the space. And I think as someone who's been riding on Bitcoin since the early 2010s, I think it's something that Mr. Orr has been stewing on. He's been thinking about, he's been philosophizing about, and thinking very carefully about how these ideas can actually help the world, how it can actually help the world. And he would want that recognition. And through this ecosystem, through BTCMobick, he will actually be able to get the recognition that he deserves. He wasn't able to implement those ideas in Bitcoin because the network is already too big. You can't actually push in any ideas. It's already too big. There's already too many conflicting ideas. In a way, it's too decentralized. But it's not really, because everybody's primary motive there is just more profit. So, but it's too big. That's the problem. So here is a new idea, a new altcoin, a new fork. It's already started to prove itself in the price. It's already going up. This public goods idea is an innovation. It's a brilliant idea. I think it's going to be a fantastically exciting next 5 years until January 2029 to see where this can actually go. And stay tuned for the next episode, because there is already talks. There is more or less already an agreement with one of the big 5 media companies. So I'll be covering that and the kind of things that they'll be doing in the next episode. Thank you very much, everybody. If you liked it, if you have any comments, please leave them down below. And if you want to know anything about BTCMobick, I'd love to share. So take care, everybody.